What's up, everybody, and welcome to News Snapshot. All right, today we are diving headfirst into the world of sports betting. Data and AI are supposed to be changing everything, right? We've all got these betting apps right on our phones, and it feels like we should have an edge. But here's the real question. Can we actually use all this tech to outsmart Vegas? Or is the house always gonna win? Well, let's dig in and find out. Okay, to really get to the bottom of this, let's run a little thought experiment. We're going to zero in on one single game. Picture this. It's December 11th, 2025. The Denver Nuggets are taking on the Sacramento Kings. Now imagine you've got $100 ready to bet, and you have access to all the data in the world. Could you actually crunch the numbers, predict the winner, and walk away with some cash? This one game is going to be our case study as we see what's really possible. All right, section 1, the million-dollar question. So let's set the stage for our big game. You've got the Denver Nuggets, a total powerhouse, right? Known for their stars and just winning. And they're up against the Sacramento Kings, a team that's, been struggling a bit to find their footing. Now, on paper, this looks like a no-brainer, doesn't it? But as you're about to see, in sports betting, it's never, ever that simple. And wow, the result was a total blowout. It wasn't even close. The final score was 136 to 105. Denver basically came out swinging right from the start, jumped out to a huge lead in the first quarter, and just never looked back. They ended up winning by a massive 31 points. And a huge reason for this was, of course, Nikola Jokic. The guy was just on another level. He dropped 36 points and was basically lights out, hardly missing a shot. Plus, he grabbed 12 boards and had 8 assists. When you see a superstar play like that, it's so easy to look back and go, oh, well, of course they won. But predicting that kind of epic performance before the game, yeah, that is a whole different ballgame. Okay, so let's check out how the actual bets went down. The spread, that's the expected margin of victory, had the Nuggets winning by 11. Since they won by 31, they absolutely crushed the spread. So anyone who bet on the Nuggets won that one. Then there's the total, or the over-under. The line was 239.5 points. They scored 241 combined, so the over hit. Looking at this, you might think, man, what an easy day at the office for bettors. But was it really that simple? All right, next up, beating the house. So we've seen how the game played out, but now we got to take a huge step back. Because before we even dream about building some kind of data model to win, we have to understand who we're really playing against. And trust me, it's not the Sacramento Kings. It's the sportsbook. And they have a built-in mathematical advantage that makes winning consistently so tough. And it all comes down to this one little thing called the VIG. You might have heard it called the juice. Basically, just think of it like a service fee that the sportsbook charges you for placing a bet. Because of this fee, their main goal isn't even to guess who wins. Nope. Their goal is to get half the people to bet on one side and half on the other. If they can pull that off, they make a guaranteed profit from the VIG no matter who wins the actual game. That's their secret weapon. And this chart, this bell curve right here from the research paper, it just perfectly shows you why this is so hard. What you're seeing is how often the real final score is close to the Vegas prediction. And look at that giant peak right in the middle. That tells you that most of the time, Vegas is scarily accurate. And why? Because they have armies of statisticians and supercomputers crunching way more data than you or I ever could. Their lines aren't just a guess, they're like a high-powered, data-driven prophecy. So if Vegas is that good, how on earth can anyone, even a data scientist, find an edge? Well, this is where the playbook comes out. The idea isn't to outsmart Vegas on every single game. That's pretty much impossible. The real goal is to hunt for tiny little cracks, small inconsistencies in those super sharp lines, where you might have a slight advantage. So the researchers in this paper tried 3 different ways to predict a game. First, they went basic, just using simple stuff like points per game. Then, they got a little smarter, and this is the key part. They actually fed the Vegas line into their own model. The thinking here is, okay, let's assume the Vegas line is the smartest prediction out there. Now, can our data find any little mistakes in it? And finally, they brought out the big guns, AI models, to see if a machine could spot patterns that humans can't. And here's a picture of what one of those AI models, a neural network, kind of looks like. You don't have to worry about the math, for sure. The important thing is the idea. Just think of it like a digital brain. It takes in tons and tons of info, player stats, team performance, old betting lines, everything, and tries to find these super complex connections that we would probably miss. So,
Did these super smart AI brains crack the code? Well, this is one of the biggest surprises in the whole paper. Not really. It turns out the super complex AI models were no better at picking winners than the simpler model that just used the Vegas line as its guide. What does that tell us? It means you can't just throw more computer power at the problem and expect a magic answer, because the Vegas lines are just that good to begin with. Okay, next section. Betting smarter, not harder. And this leads us to a really, really big idea. Maybe the answer isn't building a perfect prediction robot. What this research shows is that having a good prediction is only half the fight. You also have to have a smart strategy for how you actually place your bets. It's not just about who you think will win, it's about how you risk your money. And the paper points to two key strategies. First up is something called margin betting. The idea is pretty simple. You don't bet on everything. You just wait. You wait for a moment when your model and the Vegas line are way off from each other. That signals a potential mistake you can jump on. The second is a famous formula for managing your money called the Kelly criterion, which helps you figure out exactly how much to bet when you find one of those opportunities. Now, I know what you're thinking. You see this formula and it looks crazy complicated. Don't worry, we are not going to do the math. The only thing you need to know is what it does. And its purpose is super powerful. It protects you. It helps you grow your money slowly while making sure you don't go broke on one bad bet. It basically stops you from going all in and losing everything, which, let's be honest, is how most people lose. All right, the moment of truth. Let's look at the final score. We've looked at the game, we've seen how tough the odds are, we've seen the models and the strategies. So after all that, what's the verdict? Can data actually give you a real, lasting edge against Vegas? Well, after all of their testing, the researchers came to a pretty blunt conclusion. I'm just going to read it directly from their paper. They said NBA betting lines set by Vegas odds makers are generally very efficient and difficult to beat. So there you have it. Even with all the fancy data and AI, finding an edge that works all the time, it's a massive uphill battle. And this whole challenge, how incredibly hard it is to predict what's going to happen and be consistently successful, it isn't just a problem for bettors or data scientists. The actual NBA teams live this every single day. And you couldn't ask for a better example than the team that lost our game, the Sacramento Kings. I mean, think about it. Just a couple of seasons ago, the Kings were the feel-good story of the league. They won 48 games, made the playoffs. Everyone thought they were the next big thing. But look at this chart. Keeping that momentum going is tough. Their wins have dropped every single year since then, down to just 40 last season. And if you look ahead, things don't look much better. Sports Illustrated is predicting they'll win only 33 games this season, which would put them way down at the bottom of the standings. It just goes to show you, man, predicting the future is just plain hard. It doesn't matter if you're a computer model trying to guess one game or an NBA general manager trying to build a dynasty. Okay, so let's wrap this all up. What it all means. So after all that, looking at a real game, the tough math, the AI models, what's the big takeaway here? What should you remember from all this? Well, it really comes down to four main things. Number one, Vegas is really, really good at what they do. Their lines are sharp. Number two, because of that, finding a true edge with data is extremely difficult. Number three, all the AI in the world isn't a magic wand for predicting sports. And number four, and this might be the most important one, having a smart betting strategy is just as crucial as having a good prediction. So that leaves us with one last big question to chew on. If finding that secret data edge is so hard, where does a real advantage come from? Is it about finding some secret piece of data no one else has? Or is the real skill knowing when the data's wrong? Is it about having that gut feeling, that intuition, to know when it's time to bet against the numbers and trust yourself? So I want to know what you think. When it comes to betting, what's more important? Having the absolute best data or having the gut instinct to know when to ignore it? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. And hey, if you liked this explainer, do us a huge favor and hit that like and subscribe button for the News Snapshot channel. We'll have more breakdowns like this coming soon. Thanks for hanging out.